Hello, everybody. I'm Del Shores.
And I'm Emerson Collins, and you're watching The Del and Emerson Show.
Straight talk.
Real guy.
Real.
Hi, Del Shores.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, it's like we haven't talked at all. I don't know what's happening in your life.
We haven't talked as much today as we usually have, so it feels a little bit fresher.
I know, it is true. We've been doing our separate tasks for the Sorted Live Stream benefit, working away. Why don't you lead off with the new exciting thing we have to share?
Oh, the prize
benefit. Yes.
Oh, it just got approved. Well, we have been very fortunate to team up with a company called Charity Buzz, and one of their sister companies is called Prizeo. And what you do is you create prizes, and people can actually donate for your cause and win chances to win certain items. And we have a lot of fun posters and signed things and t-shirts of Leslie Jordan donated a whole lot of stuff. But the big grand prize is a Zoom sorted cast party with you and me and Debbie Holiday and Dan Walker and Rosemary and Newell Alexander and Dale Dickey and David Cowgill. He's going to teach some string tricks, he said. And Lorna Scott said she's going to come in and, hang out with us. So, and we're just going to keep recruiting until we get more and more and more.
Yes, y'all. We are giving you all the ways for you to give money to these theaters. You can donate directly. You can bid on the auction. You can enter the drawing for the Prizeo. And all of those links are now on the Del Shores Foundation website. Everything's already off and running. You can give now, do your thing, so that on Sunday night, you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy what should be a hilariously delirious show.
Yes, and one of the great returns to our cast, which we're all excited about because she is on our show today, is the amazing Beth Grant. I believe IMDb called her not too long ago the most working character actress in Hollywood. So, yes. And we've certainly worked with Beth for many, many years, and it was so great to get her back into those sissy. We're gonna just have the greatest time. So
absolutely. And so wherever you're watching the broadcast, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Periscope, on Twitter, if you leave comments, we can see them. Please share the broadcast with your friends. Don't make us your dirty little secret. And y'all, we do this to entertain you, to have a good time. We love that you are with us, but we do want to lead off and talk just for a minute about what has absorbed our nation in the last several days, because it's all we've been watching. It's all anyone is talking about. And I feel like as members of a marginalized community, it's important that we stand up and stand with other marginalized communities, and for the people in our community who are members of the Black community, that we as white people talk about it and participate, because silence equals acceptance.
And I think that, there's all of us who have been consumed. I mean, it's just like you just can't stop watching, and then you can't stop feeling. It's so painful to watch the responses. It's painful to watch that video over and over, and they keep bringing in new angles. And I know that it's probably not enough for most people, and it certainly wasn't when I heard. But at least they've arrested the guy, and he's in custody, and hopefully they will bring in the other ones. I don't understand. I frankly don't understand the delay, but.
Yeah, and being accountable to the community that they represent. There's the original video, and I think my frustration too recently is the number of people who seem to be more upset about the anger and looting of a few people in the community that's been devastated by this, whose first comments were about the reaction, not about the incident itself. It wasn't about George Floyd. It wasn't about the fact that he was murdered by a police officer. That so many people, if you're more concerned with the property than you are with the people, you're telling on yourself. And, as I'm sure many of you saw, in basically the middle of the night last night, Trump tweeted that when the looting starts, the shooting starts. And for those who may not know, that is a quote from the Miami police chief in the 1960s. Like, he did not invent that. Somebody on his team, I'm sure, gave him the phrase. And that police chief was just straight up racist. He said that Black people were taking advantage of their civil rights, and then said, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So he is echoing a specifically racist incident from the past in saying that.
And then walked it back today. And I mean, in the news conference, and said, oh, many people have said that. Yeah, people quoting the asshole. I mean, you know, that's what he said. Well, I don't know. I don't know where I heard that. You know, it's just so frustrating. It's so amazing. It's every single day. It's just frustrating.
Yeah. And it's on all of us to be involved and engaged. I know as white people, it can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like I don't know what to say. And it's okay if you don't have something to say, amplify the voices of Black people who are talking about what you can do to support their community. You don't have to say something yourself, and it's okay to wait and find the right thing, but we can't sit back and leave the onus on people of color and Black people to be the only ones complaining about this treatment. We benefit from the systems in our country, and we need to be speaking up and speaking along as well. That is the least we can do. And check on the Black people in your lives. You know, think about when big things happen to our community. You know, they may not be in there where it happened, but it still impacts people daily. I checked on several of mine yesterday and had one, a good friend of ours, say, thank you. I've been on the verge of tears for the last 2 days. So that is something you can do on a personal level.
Well, thank you for saying that, Emerson, because I haven't. And, you know, I've had lots of thoughts and I've had lots of it. I have not done that. And
well, and I was inspired by a Black person online who said, you can do this. And I was like, great, that is something I can do specifically, personally. And the least I can do. So we know it's on everyone's minds, but now we'll venture back to the focus of our show, which is specifically LGBTQ news.
Well, I think that honestly, there's a nice segue here because someone who spoke loudly and screamed loudly, we lost this week. And he made a big difference. I don't know why I just got emotional, but I've taught him in my in my college courses, and when I when I teach at NSU, it's the Normal Heart is one of the place that I always ask them to read. And he just watching his legacy, and he didn't always do it right, and he admitted he didn't do it right. He could be very cruel. But I didn't say his name, Larry Kramer. So
I was about to say, for anyone who didn't know,
it's like a guess who passed away. But he made a huge difference for our community. And I have often said that you know, when we're criticized, when I'm criticized for doing it the wrong way, I go, yeah, sometimes you have to scream loudly, you know. And
absolutely,
he created ACT UP, and boy, did he scream loudly, and he got results by screaming loudly, and it's always pleasant. I mean, did you see the Anderson Cooper tribute to him?
No.
It was quite wonderful because Larry Kramer had actually called Anderson Cooper a useless homosexual, and Anderson was saying how inspirational and important that Larry Kramer was in his journey, and it hurt terribly when Larry Kramer said that. And there was this moment, I guess, that where Anderson went to an event. It was theater, actually, and Larry Kramer was there, and he came up to him and he said, "I've said some horrible things about you," and that was his apology. So.
Well, and I love it on so many levels because it's also that you don't have to be perfect to do the work. You know,
no.
We've talked about this, the difference in the styles of even the way the two of us communicate. You know, I think different eras, different moments require different kinds of voices. And when Larry Kramer became a super loud voice, we were just dying and no one was talking about it. It wasn't in the news. We couldn't get Reagan to talk about it. People were just dying. And so that he was the right voice for that moment. And yeah, over the years at other times, you know, his strident approach maybe wouldn't have been as effective, but the people rise to the occasion that you need. And he certainly is a giant of our community and will be sorely missed for the incredible impact that he had.
So if you have run out of things to watch over the weekend, go back and again, Ryan Murphy we talk about him almost every week now. He brought us that pretty amazing production of The Normal Heart, with an all-star cast. But Mark Ruffalo's performance in that is just staggering. And many. Julia Roberts is great. Matt Balmer. I mean, they're all good. So anyway, all right.
Well, a follow-up. We talked last week about Central Park Karen, Amy Cooper, and Christian Cooper, the gay Black bird watcher, who also works as a comic book writer, whose confrontation with her went viral. Amy has since had her dog reclaimed by the rescue organization she got it from, and her employer fired her. But Christian had mixed feelings about the response. He said, her life went from normal to collapse in about 60 seconds for a lapse of judgment, a serious lapse of judgment, one that turned racist. I have very mixed feelings about the consequences for her, whether it's proportional. I imagine she was trying to get a leg up in the confrontation, but she went to a racist place. I think that demonstrates a very generous spirit on his part. I don't think the results were unfair.
Did they take her dog away because it was off leash and she was breaking a code with them?
I think more for she seemed to be all but choking the dog while trying to make the phone call, rather than setting down the phone and getting the dog on the leash so the dog would be comfortable.
I'm telling you, those dog rescue people, they don't mess around either. They will come.
Nor should they. I mean, Lisa Vanderpump be coming from Vanderpump Dogs to take it.
When I adopted Bitsy May, the organization that I adopted her from, I don't know if you remember this, but they came and inspected my house, and they told me, no, you have to put a screen there and this, and I had to sign this whole contract. I would never have a retractable leash, and it was pretty intense.
Yeah.
But Bitsy May did okay. She did all right.
Real quick, relevant question. Michael said, will Sorted Lives reading be available if you can't watch it on Sunday? Yes. If you can't tune into the Sorted live stream while it's happening, it will be available for 4 days through Thursday. We have permission from Actors Equity to leave it up. So you can watch it for 4 days after. Donations will continue until the video goes down.
Yes, and you do not have to wait. I just want y'all to know, you do not have to wait to donate. You can go right now to delshoresfoundation.org and donate, and many have. I think over 60 people have already donated, and we are approaching almost $8,000 in bids on these auction items. The auction items, yes. So there's some really cool stuff. We're going to get to that in a little bit. So shall we move on?
Yes.
We've got this is one of those. I don't know. I hate the story in a way, but I love reading the quotes because they're just, how can you read them back, sir, and know that this is okay? So Terry Schilling recently announced to the world that he is running in the Republican primary for Iowa's 2nd congressional district. 1 week into his campaign, the 33-year-old father of 5 had tweets that resurfaced from May 2019, which he said, I hate that he's not Southern, by the way, because I can't do a Southern accent. It would just read better. I have zero problem explaining heterosexual sex to my kids if they ask. It's how babies are made. Am I really a snowflake for not wanting to explain butt sex to my kids? Dad, can 2 dads have kids together? Why do they get married? How do they have kids? Yes, 2 dads can get married and they can have kids, but they have to hire a woman to implant an embryo in her uterus and carry the baby to term. Then the 2 dads take the baby away from the mom, just like a puppy. Is this the conversation I should have with my kids? Parents, you're not snowflakes for not wanting to explain the sordid world of gay couples who really don't get married anyway. Schilling, who currently heads up the anti-LGBTQ hate group American Principles Project, said, I don't regret anything. It's all truth, and it's how most Americans feel. Most Americans. Adding that he only deleted the tweets because I don't want to be taken out of context in the future. And I'm like, well, how could you be taken out of context? They're just awful. No matter what, they're just awful.
And also, okay, let's be honest. the line where he makes it clear he's just a big old bigot is where he says, like, taking the baby from its mother like a puppy. Shut up. I bet he doesn't say that about heterosexual couples that use surrogates because the mother, for one reason or another, can't carry a pregnancy to term. I bet he doesn't call that a puppy.
I bet he does.
And like, you don't got to explain butt sex. You can just say the two men love each other very much.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're getting to all the places that a pea can go, you know, I mean, at whatever age you decide to get descriptive, they're going to figure out there's other places to put them.
If they ask, and you know, from my understanding, butt sex is not just for gays anymore.
I was about to say. And pegging. When's he going to explain pegging? That happens. Bless their bigoted hearts. All right. On to a man that I much admire.
Me too.
Representative Brian Sims is the out gay Democrat who represents a district in Pennsylvania. And he has accused Republicans in the Pennsylvania House of hiding COVID-19 diagnoses and exposing for political gain. He did a 12-minute Facebook video blasting them for putting other House members at risk during in-person sessions. He said, every single day of this crisis, the state government committee in Pennsylvania has met so that their members could line up one after one and explain that it was safe to go back to work. During that time period, they were testing positive. They were notifying one another, and they didn't notify us. Just before he released this video, another a Republican, Andrew Lewis, released a statement saying he tested positive for COVID-19 on May 20th, and that he notified the House of Representatives, but the Democrats were kept in the dark. Another Republican, Russ Diamond, an ardent advocate for reopening the state, and an opponent of contact tracing and mask wearing, had also been self-quarantining, but had not informed his colleagues across the aisle for more than a week. And that is just insane to me. Like that it wasn't going to come out. They told the other Republicans, but because they wanted to say it's fine to open everything, you don't need to wear masks, you don't need to social distance, they didn't even tell their fellow government colleagues that one of them was quarantined and another one definitely tested positive.
That rant was amazing, by the way. I mean, it was laced with profanity and anger. It was my kind of rant. I loved it so much. I mean, they were bleeping it on CNN.
But you got it, but show it. I love that passion. Ron Baker said, I taught Brian Sims about 40 years ago. I have to check him out. I love that. I love how well he speaks for our community and what great work he's doing in Pennsylvania. And he's visible on so many issues. And this was just a rant in the vein of Adele Shore's character.
Yes, it was truly right up my alley. I just loved it. And I love him. I want to meet him someday. I want to shake his hand. And
John says,
yes, I was going to go there too, John Martin. I thought, okay, I'm not going to go there. John Martin says, go ahead, Emerson.
Yeah, he said he's hot, by the way. And he certainly is. It certainly helps.
It does not hurt at all. He is very attractive. So, okay, we have Lely Pons is a 23-year-old Venezuelan social media star with over 40 million Instagram followers, 60 million YouTube subscribers, and a gay dad who she adores. In the most recent episode of her web series, The Secret Life of Lely Pons, she opens up about how she learned her dad was gay. She says, I came into his room and saw him actually like sleeping with a man. I was like 10 years old. And that for me was, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like I saw my dad. Pons goes on to say that learning about her father's sexuality wasn't as easy at first for her to grasp as a child. She said, when my dad told me he was gay, it was a surprise, but I didn't judge him. I tried so hard to understand him, and eventually I did. I said, okay, you're gay. I want to understand how you feel and what made you decide to marry my mom and what made you decide to tell me now. I just want to understand everything. They're very close now, and she says that he's got revenge on her because basically she says that he has now walked in on her at some point. So she says, I guess we're even. What a cute story, and it made me, think about my daughters, and when I, mine was a little easier than that. They were a little younger, and it was like, The quick story is this: we're going to school one day, and Rebecca, who I guess she was about 8, she said, "Dad, Mom's dating so and so. Are you dating yet?" And I go, "Yeah, yes, I'm dating a guy named Simone." And she said, "Are you gay?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Like Luke and John next door?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Okay."
Just needed to know. Thank you. Well, and I love this story because it ties in that I feel like there are a weirdly large number of people who have I like walked in on my parents having sex story at some point. But for that to go hand in hand with the like, oh, and you're gay. And I love that she has this massive following in Venezuela, and sharing that story in a fun and funny way, continues to normalize and share her journey. And I just think it's hilarious and lovely.
Yeah, I do too. I enjoyed that one.
All right. Also, as always, we do this to entertain you. We want to have a good time, but we are, of course, non-essential out of work artists. And if you enjoy the show and you're someone who is financially set and you want to contribute in any way, you can send a tip on Venmo to me at Emerson Collins, or PayPal to beardcollinsstoresproductions@gmail.com. It's in the ticker below. Thank you, Erica, who sends every single show, and I already got the notification. No obligation, but if you want to, we appreciate it. This next one.
I just want to say that it always is, when you say non-essential, there's a little bit of me that goes, I feel like I'm a little bit essential, just a
You're
little.
not.
I'm not.
That's why I find it so funny to say, because of course it's not true. We know that we do know, and of course everyone at home knows, because so much of entertainment is what's getting people through this time. And entertainment is an important part of culture, and what we do does contribute to the world that we all live in when we do it to the highest degree. I just find it hilarious that like the culture decided we are not essential because they said you can't go to your jobs. And on the flip side, to point out that there are so many people who work in essential industries, at our grocery stores, at our hospitals, who did not have the luxury of staying home that so many of us are doing. So the joke is really more in support of people who have to go to work so the world works than it is about actually saying that we don't matter. That's the point.
I did not need that long ass monologue. Emerson.
You're the one that was taking it personally.
Making a comment. By the way, before you do this next story, Emerson always sends me an outline. He does most of the work, all of the work for the show. But I just loved the headline. And can I just read the headline before you read the story? Emerson
because it ruins the story.
Okay,
That's
right.
why it's so bad when you read the titles that are just there to tell us what the next story is about.
Okay.
I rearranged the entire news stories to get the climax of the story out of the headline, so it's revealed as a journey.
I'll read the title after he reads the story.
Great.
Great headline.
Gavin Capps was flying from the UK to Iceland for work this past January. He had 3 beers on the flight and went to the front of the plane to get more, but he was sent back and told to wait for the in-flight service. When the duty-free trolley came down the aisle, he took 400 cigarettes from it and hid them under his seat. Flight attendants warned him to stop causing trouble, but then he attacked. A flight attendant who was serving another passenger said that he felt Capps, quote, take hold of his left buttock and squeeze with a lot of force. He could feel his fingers between the buttocks. Capps started shouting, saying, you're gay, saying that I touched your bum. You're not British if you think that is sexual assault. Capps went to the front of the cabin and started taking pictures, telling people the gay boy is getting me arrested for sexual harassment. Well, the flight crew called the police. He was arrested and the court sentenced him to 6 months in prison on 1 charge of sexual assault and 1 charge of threatening words. It gets more interesting to me. He has since gotten married, gotten a new job, and he's looking after his adult son. But the judge, Bernadette Baxter, I love her already, said, you drank too much and behaved appallingly. You have done exactly the same thing many times before, referring to his 105 prior offenses. Now, the story does not say what his 105 prior offenses were. Like, was this 105 flights? Did he grab 105 asses? I did not bother to see if there was more to the story elsewhere, but I did not understand a little better why he got 6 months in prison for a grab ass. Because 105 times, sir, no means no.
You did. So the grab ass gets prison was the headline for this, which is just
Yes,
like if you saw that, you would read that story. Grab
absolutely.
gets prison.
Yes.
Oh my God, that just made me laugh so much. All
All
right.
right, crank along and I'll get the
Well, we have
photo.
a coming out story. Four-time world champion ice skater and 2018 Olympic silver medalist Guillaume Cizeron came out on Instagram last week by posting a picture with his boyfriend. Cizeron, 25, posted in honor of International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia with the caption "Celebrate Love." The post just came just before an interview that he did where he confirmed he was gay. The skater says he felt a need to go publish to push back against homophobes everywhere. I wanted to share this publicly because it was World Day Against Homophobia and Transphobia. I told myself that by living in Montreal, one of the cities where we feel the most free as a person from the LGBT community, we tend to forget how this is not the case everywhere in Canada and other countries and even in France. So exposing oneself serves the cause. And so over the past few months, I have talked about it with many people who surround me and are part of the community. So, some whom are activists and who have told me several times how far it could have an impact in this cause. What held me back for a moment was the fact that I always considered that we shouldn't have to come out. I was quite surprised that people made so many positive comments. It made me happy.
I love that.
Oh. Yeah. And he did say that a couple of 100 people, 300 people stopped following him. But that's out of 84,000. So, and
I also need to say that Blake and I have been enjoying this man's performances for quite some time. And I need you all to see this other photo to understand why.
Oh, wow.
So we were very excited at his coming out story because this ice dancer, I mean, like that is a lot.
Yeah. And that 200 or 300 people who stopped following him, he's going to get that many more plus a lot more to follow. So,
yes.
Whatever.
Love him. All right. And then one more quick little thing. In Wollongong, Australia, they put up a rainbow crosswalk that was unveiled on Christmas Eve. Acting Lord Mayor Tanya Brown said, "This is personal to a lot of people in the community. It's an important visible symbol. And there are people in our community who are still very much affected by homophobia. The trolls will always be out there. So having a physical symbol to show that everyone is welcome is so important." Within weeks, the crosswalk had been vandalized with intentional skid marks. They repainted it in April, though. The skid marks reappeared blacker and thicker than before. Locals have heard these bigots doing burnouts on the crosswalk at night and have demanded cameras be installed to catch them in the act. For now, the town continues to clean out the crosswalk each time the culprit strikes. And, you know, there's something that I sort of love about just saying, you know, every time you come for us, we will just repaint. We will make it better again. You can see the crosswalk there with the skid marks in the middle. But I love the sort of fortitude of spirit to say, no matter how many times you knock us down, we will rise back up. I think it speaks to what we as a community attempt to do and stand for. And so good for you, Wollongong.
Yeah, I mean, they a lot of homophobia in Australia. They've had problems, lots of problems there. I remember when they painted in Midtown Atlanta the crosswalks, and
yes.
they worked hard to get approval, and then they told them they had to take it down, and then a big petition went up, and our fellow LGBTQ community in Atlanta, they won, and it is a permanent fixture there. And one of my pictures that I love is me taking a selfie in the crosswalk.
And they're just completing the series of them in Dallas on Cedar Springs in my original neighborhood. Somebody posted a photo the other day of a new one. I think they're doing like 10.
Oh, yeah.
And so I love that. It always makes me happy. It's like skipping down the yellow brick rainbow road.
Absolutely. So, well.
All right. She has been patiently waiting in our very fancy green room. Shall we get to our brilliant and wonderful,
yes, and there's so
many talented special guest?
There she is behind me. Do you see her right there behind me, Emerson? Oh,
yes, right up over your head.
Right above my head. I met this this wonderful actress so many years ago. We'll talk about that. And I was blown away by her work in a tiny, tiny little theater where we were both doing showcases. And I lost track of her. I couldn't remember her name. And then through a miraculous kind of intervention of an agent, there she was. And I wrote the role of Sissy Hickey for her. And she has been a part of the body of work and has made my life and my work so much better. Please welcome my friend, Beth Grant.
Yay!
Oh, there I am.
Look at you. You're right there.
It was fun listening to you guys. I got so tickled.
We do try to have fun.
Yeah. Hey, you guys.
How are you? I love the glasses.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, they are for seeing, I promise you.
Same here. Same
They are
here.
not for glamour.
How are you doing during
The
the
gray? Would you like to see the gray? In
Now,
quarantine, it's getting grayer and grayer.
and are you dyeing it yourself? Are you figuring things out like so many?
Yeah. Well, I've played a lot of beauticians.
Yes, you have.
And I've gotten kindly good at it. I've cut Michael's hair, actually, and curly hair is tricky, So you have to take a long time and use tiny little scissors, but it's been looking pretty good.
I saw you play Truthy, I believe, in Still Magnolias.
Yeah, you sure did. You brought RuPaul.
Yes. So
He gave me a little Mac bag.
yeah. So Beth, this has been crazy for all of us, and we're so grateful that you have come back to join us on Sunday night. And
So excited! I had such a good time. I'm having such a good time being part of this. I appreciate it.
Oh, well, we appreciate it, and so many people are so excited that you're back as Sissy Hickey. You are
Lord, I hope I'm good. What if I don't know how to do her anymore?
I have a feeling it's a little bit like just stepping back. I think. Are you going to do the hair? Are you going to do the hair for us, or is that going to be?
What do you think?
Okay.
How could you not? Wait, y'all need to know at home, this brilliant hairstyle that Beth brought to the role of Sissy Hickey, no one else has ever done it. Y'all, we did Sort of Lives the series, and bless this poor hair lady's heart, it was like, it's not worth trying to teach y'all. They're over there working away on people, and Beth's over in the corner like she is an actress that does it all. Hold it up.
But it really was, Beth, right? It was a mistake with another character. It was
there was another movie I did called Don't Tell Her It's Me. And I had gone for the audition, and it was some of the Monty Python people were doing it. And anyway, I was going to do a big high French twist. And by the time I got in the room, it had fallen over to the side. As Adele, as you say, it's a French twist gone awry.
Yes, that's my definition. It's a French twist gone awry.
Right. And so I got the part, and then they wanted me to come, and I couldn't come. I was working on something else to come do a couple of shots, and they said, "My God, you've got to tell us how to do that hair." I said, "You want that hair?" But anyway, that was that. And then when we were rehearsing Sordid Lives, I don't know, I guess everybody probably knows this story who knows Sordid Lives, but Dale had written this short story called Nicotine Fit. And well, first of all, I'll go back a couple of maybe weeks before that. Am I right? How did it go? Did you come out before we did the reading?
No.
Oh,
I wrote the short story before I came out.
Before. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you called me up and you said, I want you to come do this reading. And Ann Walker was there, right?
Jesse, I believe it was Anita Jesse.
Yes. Anita Jesse and Ann Walker and me. And we did this reading up in a little office, and
Tiny little office on Coldwater.
oh my God, it just seems like yesterday. And then I don't know, not too long later though, within that year, you called up, and I always remember I was at my house over on a lot, and I answered the phone and I said, hello. And you said, Beth, this is Dale. And you said, I'm gay. It was just, I said, oh, Well, I love you. I remember I didn't know what to say except I had no clue. I mean, I hadn't thought about it.
Right.
You know, but you were married with 2 kids, but of course that doesn't mean anything.
Well, and we were friends before we
We were
were
friends.
I mean, it was so funny, Beth. Today I was trying to find some pictures, you know, because it's always a flashback Friday, and I'm going, oh, what am I going to put on Instagram? And I found a picture of you and Michael and Mary, a Christmas card when Mary could not have been more than 1 year old. And I thought, wow, Beth and I, ironically, you're going to be on the show today, and we go back well over 30 years. Because
well, Mary's 27, but I was trying to get pregnant. You had Rebecca.
Right.
Rebecca's
30.
Oh, she is? Oh,
Yeah.
my God. Well, of course she is. But I remember going to the gym and us talking when I was trying to get pregnant, and, you know, I didn't think we were going to be able to. And then I told you at Leslie Jordan's one-man show, I told you I was pregnant. And I've been trying for 4 years, Emerson. I mean, this wasn't like, you know, and I was a little long in the tooth. I was 42. And and I remember we said hello, and you were with Ronnie Claire Edwards, and you looked at me and I said, you know, I was mouthing I was pregnant before the show started. I mean, I wasn't rude, but, well, maybe I was rude. I don't know.
Oh,
I've been rude about in a different way. But yeah, we've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
I only did one showcase. I was thinking, did I do 2? I might have done 2, but that was it. It was a miracle that we met. It was
at the Fountain Theater, that little tiny space. This is the second theater. And I just remember, who is it? And you did a scene with Michael, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he was there though. He was sitting with you.
So I did a scene with I think Lana Schwab, and I was doing Luann Hampton, Laverty Overlander. But anyway, Emerson, we'll talk to you in a second.
I'm fine. Are you kidding? This is just as entertaining for me.
Just sitting there looking pretty, you know.
But here's the crazy thing, y'all, is like when I wrote Daddy Stein, Who's Got the Will, I thought, man, I wish I could remember that actress's name. She would be so right for Sarah Lee Turnover. And I could not remember. And then Ginger Perkins, your agent, came to see the show, took Daddy Stein to Scotland. And one day I'm in her office and your picture is on her desk. And I said, oh my God, there's that actress. I've been searching for her forever. And
such a small, strange world.
She put us together, and
I tell you something terrible you did to me though, early on.
Just what?
What?
You.
So the story goes, David Steen had written this play, Gift from Heaven.
Yeah.
And sweet Sarah Hundley was having some challenges. She was the lead in it. And they had gotten rave reviews. And she'd been doing it for 6 months. But David just needed to replace her. And so somebody sent me, Gina Heck sent me the script, and I read it, and I thought, oh my God. And I went to see it, and I remember saying to Jim Holmes afterwards, I said, she's wonderful. What's wrong with, I don't know why you're replacing her. And he said, well, there's some challenges between the two of them, you know. And anyway, I wanted to do it. And so they said, okay, well, we're going to let her go. We're going to give her 2 weeks notice, and then you'll take over. And I said, okay. So I start learning the lines and stuff. Well, I told Dale that I was going to do it, and he told Sarah, and she quit. She didn't wait 2 weeks. She quit. And they called me up and they said, you're going on Thursday night. I had 5 days preparation. And there was this scene in the beginning, if you remember this, Dale, where I was having to chop vegetables and make soup. And I'm telling you, carrots were flying in the audience. I was chopping it. I mean, oh my God, that is one of the scariest nights of my life. And
Beth, I don't know if I've ever made proper amends to you for that, but I want to publicly right now on the show say that I'm sorry that my big mouth, that was hard for me when I would have told you too.
It was kind of exciting.
But, wait, I need to tell you from my side that story represents all 3 of you so perfectly. Sarah throwing a fit, Dale telling somebody something
And I
said,
got
and then
vegetables.
Beth having a great time with props.
Yeah.
Because Beth Grant loves a prop.
Oh, yes. And that's, I think, one of the reasons, I mean, besides you're just a brilliant actress, but we got along with the props. You and I always,
We love props.
We both love props.
You love props more than I do, though. I remember once I almost had a nervous breakdown because it was Trailer Trash Housewife when we were, I mean, I love them, and we were doing it, and we had her cooking and making casserole and doing all this stuff. And Dale said, and then take a little piece of butter and put it on there. And I said, no, I can't chew the butter or something. It wasn't quite that loud. But that's the way it felt.
Oh, no, it was close. It was close. Because
that butter is the straw that broke that camel's back.
That one little pat of butter.
Pause for a second. For all of you watching on Facebook and YouTube, if you have questions, because Beth's body of work is enormous, if you have stuff you want to ask, put it in the comments and I'll ask her. But can I change the subject for a second?
You don't want to talk about me and Dale?
As entertaining as it is, I want to talk about your daughter for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about Mary Chieffo. I figured you'd be fine with that. For those of you who may not know, Beth's daughter, Mary Chieffo, is now an incredible and established actress in her own right. And you probably don't know, I am a Trekkie, like fully grew up a Trekkie. The Next Generation was like our family show that we watched. So Beth's daughter, Mary, is an enormous and influential and amazing character on CBS All Access's show, Star Trek Discovery. She plays the Klingon high priestess. I mean, she is the lead woman in this warrior culture, and she is amazing.
Oh, thank you. I had no idea that you had seen her.
Yes, I watched every episode because I wanted to watch it, not even just because Mary was on it.
Well, she had sex. She had the first Klingon sex.
Oh, yeah.
But it was great because it was all prosthetics. And those guys gave her quite a body.
Yes, they did.
But, I told Mary a long time ago when she became an actress, I said, Mary, I don't have any problem seeing you nude or seeing you have sex, but I just don't think I could ever watch you be killed. And she said, I'd rather see you be killed.
That's such an authentic child response.
I've seen you be killed. I saw you go in for the rapture, get hit by.
Yeah.
But that worked out pretty well because
it sure did. I got to have sex with what's his name,
Peter
while saying the 23rd Psalm. Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story about that. We were Alan Ball had I don't know. I think 3 or 4 times I was supposed to do a part. One time Kathy Bates did it because they had made a deal with the HBO that she could direct if she would do a part. Anyway, I didn't get that one. And another time they thought I was a lot bigger than I was. And they found out my sizes and they said, oh no, we thought I don't know. I guess it's my big head, my big face. Anyway, and then another time the director's girlfriend got the part. So anyway, they called and they offered me this one and it was having sex. So I thought, oh my God, Mary was in junior high. So I went to Mary and I said, Mary, there's this part and I actually would be, having sex on camera and some of your friends might see 6 feet under. So I don't want you to feel embarrassed or weird about it. You just tell me I don't need to do this part. It's no big deal. And she said, oh, okay. It reminded me of that lady that, about Rebecca finding out you were gay and then that lady, with her father.
Right.
It's like Mary says, yeah, okay, that's fine. So then I go to Michael and I said, well, honey, Alan's back to me with this thing. I don't have to do it. If you feel weird about it, just tell me and I won't do the part. And he said, let's rehearse.
Yeah. Yes, Michael Chieffo. Let's get to work on this part.
And we did. And that night, it was a Friday night, and this little director was nervous. I mean, I was older, and he cleared the set, and it was just Peter Strauss Peter Krause.
Right.
And he said, now we're just going to take it easy. It's Friday night. We can stay as late as we want. We'll just, rehearse until you're comfortable and whatever makes you comfortable. And I'm going, He has no idea. And so we rehearsed, and he said, well, I guess we'll shoot, because I was bing, bang.
Ready.
I remember I asked you after you shot that, I said, so who did you use for sense memory for, substitution? And you go, I didn't have to use anybody.
I did.
Look at him.
It was so cute.
Oh, beautiful. I love that show so much. I watched your episode because I do that a lot of times. If I don't watch a show regularly, I watch my friend's episode. But then I recently went and binged the whole thing. And I feel like the 6 Feet Under is one of the best shows ever. It's like in my top 6 or 7 for sure. So
I didn't watch it because I didn't watch it regularly back then. I don't even think I had HBO, but the episodes I've seen, I really liked.
Oh, it's wonderful.
We do have some questions, but before we I want to ask you one, because after the Mindy Project, of course, which everybody loved and is brilliant, and now everybody can watch all of them. Most recently, you did Dollface, and I need to show everybody this character because I love her so much. Please meet Beth Grant, Cat Lady.
I'm crazy, aren't I?
I love it. No, it's your fearlessness, your willingness to jump at anything. It's the most fascinating device, this conceit, this arch thing in the show. Was this fun? Because it looked like a riot, inventing this character.
And it was hard. It was different. It was very challenging, but I did do it because I like to be scared. I like to jump in and do stuff that I haven't done before. And I didn't want to do prosthetics. I was 100% sure of that. So that was the first thing I asked when Julia called it. And she said, no prosthetics, all CGI. But then I get to the set, and of course they had to slick my hair back, me with my angular features, and then these dots all over my face, which they hadn't told me about. And I mean, I am a woman,
Yes.
I'm a character actress, but I had to walk around that set looking like hell and then act with people. And I kept saying to Kat Dennings, I don't know how you're having a scene with me looking like this. But they didn't seem to bother any of the other actors. It was just me. So, I let it go. And I got used to it. After the first couple of ones, I got used to it. And I said, well, the hell with it. They don't like the way I look, But at first I was embarrassed to be looking so awful and to be in these scenes. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I love her so much. And it got picked up. I don't know what's going to happen with it now. I mean,
of course, with everything.
I don't know when I'm going to be able to work. I mean, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine. Life is too precious. I'm not taking any chances.
Do not. No, ma'am.
No, ma'am. No, sir.
I just love that after your wide range of all the varieties of women that you have played, I was like, oh, right, what's left? Cat Lady.
Well, she's sort of have you seen the whole thing when I become
I have.
like Glinda, the good witch. And so I am her guardian angel. And then they finally get to see my actual face. But I don't know what's going to happen with the next 10, if and when. I don't know anything. Maybe I won't even be on it. But
all right, well, let's hear from some of the people. Ron said, I loved your performance in As I Lay Dying.
Oh my God. Ron
Do you
Baker.
like
Hey.
comedy or drama better?
And that Ron Baker.
Yes.
So do you like drama or comedy better, he asked.
Oh, I'm sorry. He had a question, didn't he? I like comedy better. I mean, I like it all. I love to act. I mean, I just love to act. I do. I love to be somebody else. It's just so fun. Dale, I know you love it too, because I really always thought that you should do Latrell. He did it one night was it for a fundraiser or just for fun? Everybody switched roles or something.
We did a sort of, it's called Sorted Lives, It's a Drag. I wish we had a picture of me. I was very pretty.
You were very pretty and you were very fucking good. You you were great. You transformed. You did the kind of acting that I like to do, and you do that with your characters in your one-man show too.
Yeah, well,
That's why I wrecked my car after I saw your one-man show. I was so excited. I left the theater and I wasn't paying attention. Bam! And I ran into a U-Haul truck. I mean, it was
a special day for me, Beth. I really loved that afternoon where you came and
so great.
the afternoon when we are in our dress rehearsal.
It was so great.
Yeah.
I
one. It was just me and you and Emerson.
Emerson, that was it, just the three of us, and I was command performance. You know,
well, as you know, I mean, you're a director's dream to direct. I've directed you a few times, and Emerson was such an amazing director for me in that when you trust a director and you get all of those mannerisms, and he was so detailed. I don't even know if we've talked about it. He was so detailed, which, you know, I love detail as well, where he was like, what hand does she smoke with? You know, character, how did she, you know, her stature, you know, all of that. And you do that.
Great.
Let me go. Beth, I loved you in Fall from Grace, in the Tammy movie. You were amazing. What do you remember working with Bernadette Peters and Kevin Spacey?
Oh gosh, well, so many memories. I'm still in touch with Bernadette, and I love doing that movie. I mean, I just had a blast. It was great. It was right after I had done Rain Man, and that's how I got the audition. You know, and Ken Raskoff. Do you know Ken Raskoff? An executive. He was with MGM. I don't know what he's doing in the pandemic, but he was one of the VPs at NBC, and I had worked in publicity at NBC. And so once I started acting, I was just sending him postcards. You know how I promote a show.
Yeah.
If I'm in a show, I'm going to promote it. I'm going to get people in those seats if I have to buy the tickets. So I would always send him these postcards. And so he got me this audition, and we were on the set, and he said, "So you gotta quit sending me those damn postcards now." But you know,
yes, that's what it takes.
Hey, I want to ask real quick, Beth. Tell everybody who your intern was when you were in publicity at.
Mr. Darren Starr.
That was Beth's intern.
And we didn't pay him anything. And I wanted to give him a special Christmas present. And he said he wanted to go to Ma Maison, which was what became Spago's. It was that chef.
Right, yes.
And you couldn't get a reservation. You had to have a secret phone number. It was so hard to get a reservation. I don't know how I got that number, but somehow I got it. And I took him. And the restaurant was empty. We went too early, and I was just devastated for him. And later on, I said that to him, and he said, "Oh no, Beth, you forgot. Orson Welles was there." He said, "That's all I cared about."
Wow.
But and it's funny talking about As I Lay Dying. I didn't mention Mr. James Franco, who is such a sweetheart. And I've done a bunch of. Now I've forgotten what I was going to say. This happens. Something to do with Darren Starr and NBC, As I Lay Dying.
As I Lay Dying, circling back around. It's just.
I did. This is what I was going to say, but I'll say this. I did love doing As I Lay Dying because it was Faulkner, you know.
Yeah.
And our Southern writers, come on, we know stuff. And I did love playing her. You know, she was dead the whole movie, and she was narrating the movie, and we got to go to Cannes. You want to hear Cannes' story? Do you have time?
Yes.
So I was so excited to get to go to Cannes. I mean, I was born in the foothills of the Appalachian. We used to say Appalachian. I don't know. I've learned to say Appalachian, but anyway, Appalachian Mountains in Fort Payne, Georgia. And, you know, it's been quite a journey to be who I am and to get to where I am. Del Shores being a huge, huge, huge part of that. And so we're doing this movie, and I had to go by myself. And Dale's friends with one of my ex-husbands, Henry Days, who lives near him. And he works with Variety, and he goes to Cannes every year. They have an apartment every year. They're there. So anyway, Michael couldn't go with me. And he said, gosh, I'm a little nervous for you to be there by yourself. You know, you've never been. He said, why don't you stay with Henry? And I said, man, we got a good marriage that nothing husbands would send you off to stay with your ex-husband and can. But it was so great because I got there and Henry showed me around and we had dinner and then I took him to a party with James on a yacht, you know, the whole can thing. And but I embarrassed him to death. You can tease him about this. He was friends with Tennessee Williams, who, of course, we Southerners all love so much. And we were James and I were about to do 10, a movie about Tennessee Williams, where I got to play his mother, who is essentially, you know, the mama in Glass Menagerie. So I was just thrilled out of my mind to be prepared to do this movie. And I said, oh, James, Henry was friends with Tennessee Williams. And so, you know, Henry's Charleston accent, yeah, well, you know, she came and she stayed with honey so-and-so in Charleston for several months. Well, I knew honey, and honey might take a drink every once in a while. She might take a drink.
She might.
And, James was really interested, you know, in engaging about this. And he said, oh, well, tell me, why was he there in Charleston? And Henry sort of bland. She didn't know quite to say. I said, I'll tell you why. They were drinking. And Henry Days turned beet red like a tomato. He was so embarrassed. But anyway, he left and left me the apartment, and it was just so kind of him.
So lovely. I love him. He has a new dog. His dogs died. We talk all the time.
I know y'all are good friends. But anyway, James and I did the red carpet at Cannes, and it was very exciting. So
I love that. And you know, separate from Sissy, of course, you've been in a number of projects that are important to the queer community. John said, "I loved you as Loretta in Tu Wong Fu. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. Was your character based on a living person or did conceived in your brilliant mind?"
Okay, so I get to tell you trivia. I think it was written with Marion Seldes, the wonderful Marion Seldes, in mind. I know for sure she was offered the role before me. And I had been in acting class with Patrick Swayze, as Dale knows, and we were close, and he had really helped me accept myself as a character actress. And I heard from another friend that he was doing it, and I called my agent and I said, I want to be in this movie. And so, you know how timing is everything. And so apparently they had written the role bigger for Marion Seldes, but she had turned it down. And she called just at that right moment. And so I got to go in and audition and I got it. So I think it was not written. It certainly wasn't written for me. That's for sure. But I did, I mean, I know about drinking. And so Loretta, the town drunk, whose father called her baby ugly, I also know about being very insecure about my looks. And so, you know, I've grown into my looks and I have grown to love my looks, you know, but growing up, you know, in the South and with all those pretty little blue-eyed blonde cheerleaders, you know, I used to think that I had a magic zipper down my back and that if I could ever find the key to it and unzip it, that out would come this beautiful blue-eyed cheerleader. But my parents and the mafia had the key. I mean, I was a demented child. This is clearly mental illness, but that's what I thought. So,
wow.
Yeah. So it was very.
I've never heard this.
It was very well. You know, it's yeah. But that's Loretta. Loretta's that girl that I felt like I was. You know, and
isn't it amazing though, Beth? I talk about this when I teach now. Is that our damage becomes our blessing in our work, and it's wonderful. The Chihuahuas are going crazy. Sorry, he's probably walking by with his. Can I ask her this question that Rick LeBlanc? What's your favorite role and why? Rick LeBlanc wants to know.
Well, you know, I have to say Sissy Hickey, and I mean, you know, Sissy Hickey's my grandmother, and I have based like the character No Country for Old Men. I was like her cousin. you know. But when, oh, I know, this is one of the stories I started to tell earlier, that Dale had told me he wanted to do this play, and he wanted me to play. I said, "Oh, Dale, I'm not right for this part." I said the same thing about Trailer Trash too. But I know if I'm right or something, I should do it. But I didn't think I was skinny enough. You know, I felt like the smokers that I knew, were really skinny and had a certain kind of look to them. And he told me to come over to his house, and he said, "I want to show you a picture of my Aunt Sissy." And he showed me her picture, and she looked like my grandmother. And I said, "Oh, okay, got it." I just knew then. I just knew what to do. And I knew that I wanted to do it very much. And I felt she was a combination of Dale's Aunt Sissy and my grandmother. And I'll tell you, one time we were at Pride in Palm Springs, and I was in a convertible. I dressed up as Sissy, and I was in a convertible going down Canyon Drive with these two gorgeous guys in the front. And my grandmother loved boys. I mean, she loved them. I thought she was having an affair with Santa Claus. The way she talked about Santa Claus was like, that old Sandy, you know. So she was a floozy. She'd been a flapper. But anyway, I was back on that thing, popping my rubber band and, pretending to smoke a cigarette, kicking my legs in the air. And I thought, boy, my grandmother is in heaven. And she's in heaven, watching this, because she would love all those guys lined up, for her as I went down Canyon Boulevard. So, yeah, it's a very personal role for sure.
Well, and you've done so much, but even besides my place, you've done so much important and wonderful theater, and that's what we're celebrating on Sunday night, all coming together. And I just want to thank you for saying yes, and all of you who said yes. I made the calls, and quickly, not one hesitation.
Isn't that wonderful?
Beautiful the way that it came together. That because we all have that theater, we have that background that gave us. I always say I wouldn't have a dime if it weren't for theater.
Yeah,
every job I ever got to the theater.
And I'm playing Ty on Sunday, and you probably don't remember this, but the reason I played Ty once before was because of Beth. I learned those monologues while we were all working at the Zephyr Theater on Melrose. And one day in between shows, Beth was the only person in the building upstairs. I thought she was taking a nap. And so I was just sitting on stage running the monologues to learn them. And Dell came back that night and she said, "You need to let him do this."
Aww.
And Dell said, "Really?" And so I did him for him. And so I became the understudy, and I did get to do a show, but it was because of Beth's vote in support that it was brought. Because it's not like I was going to say, I'd like to.
Well, he would have discovered it though.
It probably worked out better if I'd let you just do the roles from the very beginning.
Well, wait, I did find this. I found this.
Do you know how
Oh
rich?
my God, there I am as Latrell.
I found it.
How did you find that?
I got everything on my computer.
And that was Delta Burke's wig. She loaned me.
I mean, am I right? Look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here reaching for my computer trying to make it bigger. But
I know, sorry, that's as big as I
he was gorgeous. Plus, he was good. He was her.
Oh my gosh, the hands, everything.
But that's, because that preceded Bonnie Bedelia doing the role. And I remember, like you, mannerisms, props were very important to Bonnie. And I remember the day I said, she just always talks like this, like this. And that she kind of grabbed it with this.
Yeah.
And those pearls were a big thing.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait. This is going to be fun. And how many theaters are going to get a piece of the pie?
23.
Oh, excellent. Wonderful.
Yeah, all over.
I made here in Charlotte. I mean, the theaters around the country are fabulous.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so many have done my work and some haven't, but they all are. Everybody's struggling right now. I mean, don't know when to open back up, and when we do, is like you said, we got to be safe. And equity has really been very cautious and very, very for lack of a better word, demanding that we will not let actors step back on stage until it is safe, and rightfully so. So, but until that happens, we got to figure out a way to keep our theater doors open, because there are a lot of them that've been around a long time, and they're having a hard time. So it's great that you're doing this with us, and y'all, there's some Beth Grant sissy auction stuff. They are bidding on those culottes. And
you got those culottes? Oh, that's great.
I have the beige culottes and the green blouse from the series. And I also have this chicken everybody's obsessed with. I think Rick LeBlanc, who asked you the question, he's the highest bidder right now, but it's set by the microwave in the series. This it's just a cloth chicken, but it's so sissy.
Wow, boy, we had some fun. We really did.
Indeed.
And Mary, speaking of the Star Trek, Chancellor of the Klingon Empire, she, on more than one occasion, at age 3, was backstage of Sordid Lives. And while I'd be on stage, Rosemary and Newell would babysit her, and then I'd come get her, and then we did let her see Sordid Lives. She couldn't see the rest, a little bit too advanced, but.
Right.
But we did let her see Sordid Lives once, and
my kids once, I would take them, they'd see this part, then I'd rush them out of the theater to see this part. The same thing with Southern Baptist Sissies, in and out. And driving home from Southern Baptist Sissies, and Caroline Shores goes, "Dad, when are you going to write a play that we can see all of?"
But then she was in one in Yellow. She was so good.
Yeah, she did a great job in Yellow. So, well, we've had such a great time. It's been like just sitting at a table, having a meal with you and catching up, and we can't wait for
one of your good home cooked meals.
See you back as Sissy. That will be so much fun for me and Emerson and many.
What time is it Sunday? And how do they get in?
5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, streaming on YouTube and Facebook. Oh.
You can tell you've been in publicity, Beth. I love the way what time can I watch this?
Let's give a little reminder to the peoples.
Yeah.
Yes. But truly, thank you so much for coming and joining us this afternoon. Thank you on a personal level for bringing Sissy back to us one more time on Sunday.
Love it.
I adore you as a person. I admire you as an actor, and it is a pleasure to know you.
Thank you. Love you guys so much.
See you soon.
See you
Okay,
soon.
bye.
Lots of money for the theaters.
Yes.
That was so
bye.
fun. I hope y'all had fun listening and just letting us chit chat away. Any last thoughts, Emerson Collins?
No, that's it. Well, I will put up, because we already ran over and people are sticking around, so it doesn't matter. For the auction, for those of you that are here, one, if you enjoyed the show, if you want to contribute to our non-essential artist lifestyles, you can send us a tip on Venmo at Emerson Collins, or to PayPal at beardcollinshoresproductions@gmail.com. But also, Dell made this fun little video of the auction, and so we'll give you a quick little tour. Hold on. I got to get it all right. It's a little more complicated with a video.
Oh.
Well,
Did it
I'm
not
not sure
work?
why there was no sound.
Okay, well,
But
just
we'll
go to delshoresfoundation.org and you can see all of that. And that video is on YouTube, so you can see it there. I didn't know if
Sorry,
it was
still
me or
figuring out these technical things as we go along. That's my first time trying to
Sorry
do
about
that in this show. So
all right, but you saw that my bedroom is a mess of costumes. So and so go bid and donate, please, and help these theaters if you can. And if you can't share, just tell everybody and then come and have a great time with us, because we certainly are. All right, it's been wonderful spending this Friday afternoon with y'all. Emerson Collins, it's good to see you always. It was a pleasure, Beth Grant. We love you to death. Thank you for joining us on the show, and thank you so much for joining us on Sunday night.
yes, we'll see you on Sunday.